Welcome to the fine print, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Caleb Teskey, and today joining me from Palm Harbor, Florida, is former Trulieve employee Alex Miller. Alex, thank you for joining me, sir.
Thanks for having me. Super excited.
Yeah, my pleasure. And I want to give a quick shout out to my dude Nate at Pressure Labs Cultivation up here in Vermont. My lord, Nate, that is some fucking fantastic herb. Thank you. I got a little drop the other day. Would
Awesome.
you so you've been watching the show apparently, and thank you, by the way. You know how we do this. We do a 5 minute life story off the top.
Yeah, absolutely. So, life story. Like I've been here my whole life. Grew up in the same area, the Clearwater, Tampa Bay area, really. Um, I actually got arrested for possession with intent to sell cannabis when I was 15 years old.
Oh damn.
Um, yeah, I was a dumb kid. I had just discovered weed and thought that it was the greatest thing I ever was. I'm in class daydreaming about hitting my gravity ball when I'm go home. And like just childish stuff. But you get this view into this world and culture that everybody can kind of connect through, and that's what I loved about it. So yeah, I brought it to school, and yeah, I got caught smelling up the whole hallway, and got a second-degree felony.
Wow.
Yeah, I was on probation for a year and a half, and definitely threw just a big wrench into my life because I was very young, just trying to figure out who I was, and that kind of, you know, affected my relationship with my parents and things.
How much did you
Um,
get caught with?
it was probably about a quarter ounce, not a whole lot,
That's
but
it.
I had that's no, not all, not a lot at all. But we got to remember this is Florida in 2011, and so no, you this was definitely a problem at the time, and they thought I was selling it. They were convinced I was selling it, so I went down for that.
Selling a
And
quarter. Yeah.
yeah, going down for the quarter, and
Jesus.
it affected me. It definitely affected me. My parents, I grew up in middle class suburbia there, and they weren't having it at all. They sent me to a wilderness program for several months, and or not several, probably like a month and a half. But
Yeah.
anyway, like I had some issues in my teens, with that stuff, and kind of grew out of it. Moved out to Central Florida. Um, Kind of started working at a brewery there, and enjoyed my life there for a while. My lease was up, came back here, and I've done some work in social media. I'm getting my certificate right now in digital media production and searching for a degree or seeking a degree in journalism, mass communications. So I'm in college as well.
Yeah. So I'm gonna hire you after you can be my
Yeah, yeah, no,
intern. Shit.
yeah,
I
no. I'm a
need one of
passionate
you.
writer. I believe in journalism. I'm the kind of person that likes asking those tough questions to people and getting those answers that nobody else will, or at least it seems like it. So when there's something going on like Trulieve, not not being transparent about things like layoffs and not refusing to comment to the media about them, that's not good for the industry.
So
That's not good for your workers.
so before we get into that, how old are you now, Alex?
I'm 27.
27. Okay. And when did you start working at True? How did you end up there?
I wanted to work at Truly for a long time, and I was actually familiar with a lot of the company's bullshit, just being somebody that was in touch with local news and followed the trial going on. But so
What
I
trial?
had the trial of JT Burnett in Tallahassee, public corruption. The mayor of
You
Tallahassee
watched
went
that
down.
unfold.
So absolutely, yeah, no, that's it was definitely covered at the time. This was 2021,
Wow. Yeah. So for
and
everyone that doesn't know, Kim Rivers, her husband, is in jail for bribing public officials. It sounded like.
yes. So there was an FBI probe into this corruption in Tallahassee, and there's audio recordings of basically Burnett, who Kim Rivers' now husband, former boyfriend, um, make that what you will, but that
Wait, did they get
so
married after he went to jail or what?
before.
Okay. Yeah.
before.
All right. Carry on, sir.
Alleged, like, so it'd be alleged that would be so they couldn't testify against each other, and then because
Oh,
Kim was there as well.
got you.
Okay. So anyway, yeah, that but Truly was cleared of any wrongdoing. However, it was JT Burnett was the one that was on FBI audio recording bragging about how they were able to manipulate the laws into their favor. So basically tweak it. They added another stipulation where you have to have a nursery that's been in business for 30 years, I believe it
I
was.
saw that, dude. That
Yeah,
was
like,
ridiculous.
right? Like, how do you sneak that in there?
30 years.
So, but no, other people went down. The mayor of Tallahassee went down in public corruption there and went to
Really?
prison as well. Yep.
Wow. Hmm.
So
I missed
that
that
was,
part of it.
yeah, no, there's a lot there. It's something that I still want to revisit and look at, again. But I joined Trulieve back in my first day was probably August. It was August 1st of last year. So I had gotten a response from them maybe a month and a half before that. It took forever to get in there, but 2 weeks of paid training I did, and the training was awesome. It was great. It really gave me a good impression of the company. Kelly was my training facilitator, so she's the one that got me started in the company and really gave me the confidence to move forward. It was my coworkers, my colleagues around me that I was um, learning from that kept me around, kept me uh, motivated to continue working there because there were a lot of issues there and it was difficult. They made it very hard to have a fulfilling, job there. It was, there's so much to it. It's like we put up with so much and the way that we're treated at the end is deplorable.
So let's slow down a little. What were you hired to do there at Truly?
For sure. So customer service agent, really, basically what anybody else there was doing, at least to get started, chats, phone calls, taking at least 60 calls or interactions a day. So a lot, I would do the complaints, placing orders, resolving disputes, payment disputes. Really, I'm just a middleman kind of sending tickets over
So
to
this customer
understand.
service hub, is it attached to a dispensary? Is it like a standalone facility? What is it? What's the setup like?
I consider it like a separate, almost like third party kind of deal. It's like we're in a office building. It's like a subdivision. It's a complex, but yeah, we have a building there, and most people worked remotely. They seem to like going in that direction more now. People that are working from home, but I went in and I continued going into office, though I was eligible to work remote, to show them that I was willing to, climb the ladder and come in every day and, do what was asked of me. Because, when you think about it, we did a lot. We handled these customer complaints. We were the only people that anybody could get through to. So there's a lot there. And the issues are different every day, or they're the same, but the issues um, come in like waves. You'll see waves of delivery issues, on one day. Some days there'll be very little complaints. And then the next day you'll see a bunch of complaints about the previous day.
Let me ask you, what was the starting pay like?
Starting pay was $15 an hour. And I believe they're still doing that.
I thought
Um,
Kelly said she started at like 10.50 an
that
hour.
was in 2020.
Okay.
So yeah, so that was, and that's still pretty I raises my eyebrows,
I know there's
that,
dispensaries in Vermont that pay more than that right now, and
well,
I figured,
minimum wage in Florida is $11 right now, and it's moving up to 15 each year, $1 each year. But that's, no, the pay isn't great, and it's similar throughout the entire industry down here. It's all, you're looking at $14 to $16 an hour, and
it's like
it's
McDonald's money.
McDonald's money. You're either in regardless of you're in cultivation or customer service or dispensary work, you're looking at that figure. It's
Really, same
yeah,
across the board.
it really is. I've seen,
Wow.
people packet pre-rolls, $14 an hour jobs. Like, I mean,
Personally, I feel
anything.
like you growers should be making the most money.
Like, they're the people that are setting these companies up for success. They don't exist without these frontline workers.
Yeah. Wow. Boy, that's rough. How many stores does Trulieve have in Florida?
124.
124. What percentage of the market would you say that is?
That's a good question. I could find you that.
I feel like
They
it's pushing a
are doing
quarter, maybe. Like last time I
no,
checked.
look, that they have. So you know the dispensary move. Um,
No.
they're with that Verano group.
Okay.
So they have twice as many stores as Move. So that's the second biggest dispensary. So we're
Wow.
looking at 60 stores with Move, 120 plus with Trulieve, and which I think is ridiculous. Honestly, there's no way they could ever staff all those stores with the way they run shit. I mean, so it's I look at that and I see 124 stores. They really are trying to be the Walmart of weed.
Well, it seemed to me like they were just trying to buy up the properties.
That's a
I
good point.
believe Kim's husband has some kind of real estate company, right?
Mm-hmm.
And seems like, yeah, we'll just buy up the companies or buy up the real estate. We'll fill them full
Valuable.
of people. We'll lay people off as we need to when the stores start going out of business. And then, like we have it's like Monopoly. You just buy all the shit as fast as you can. And then,
You nailed it. You nailed it. That's absolutely true. And other people have brought that up as well. There's other ways to get rich, and so they are going to continue opening stores, and because for one, the investors see that and like, oh, still opening stores, still good. But like as you said, they'll lay off employees as needed. If this was just a matter of a one layoff instance or a problem with that, that's a layoff. That's okay. This is about the way they're conducting them frivolously. And I would argue it's having a negative impact on the Florida job market. So you're
sure.
negatively affecting the industry you're supposed to be providing stable jobs for.
Right.
And
And really the nature of their business is actually making those jobs less stable, it seems like. They come into this market at this like you just pay your way to go straight to the top rather than, most people when they start a business, you start small and you find out if you have a good product and you can build a customer base and then maybe you scale up a little bit. These guys just come in at the top and they say, "Oh, we're going to have all these jobs and all these customers and do all these sales." Without any proven track record of actually being able to make that happen.
right. No, absolutely. There's so many concerns with that. And I just watching it go down and seeing the way that Trulieve has handled things from within has disturbed me greatly. So, and the fact that I never got any answers when I was asking for them um, has me pretty displeased. And I want to see the company do better. They've had the opportunity to do better, and they're aware of the issues. This is all anything that I'm bringing to light here is being done in good faith, and with the hopes that they will um, correct these issues, these long-standing issues that have not been resolved, these complaints that I can see are still relevant today. So in 2023, looking back and seeing complaints 3 years ago that are still the same resolvable issue is still coming up consistently, and it's I want to demand more of this industry. I want better for Floridians and this anybody that's in this industry or anybody in this program. Florida's got a lot of problems, and there's a lot that needs to be done. And I'm hoping that with coming out here and getting other employees to speak out, that we can get something good going. And if not, I'll just go do it somewhere else.
So, so let's get into some of these issues. I mean, you guys are the call center, so you're handling all the problems. What are people I guess what are the biggest complaints that you're getting on the phone from? And by the way, this is a medical, right? There's no adult use in Florida.
No adult use yet. It's medicinal, acting as a legal program, kind of. We could get into a lot of that in a bit with the regulations that have come in lately, the changes to the program. I'm definitely interested to know if any other states are as bad as this, But um,
I can tell you
yeah,
all about Vermont.
yeah, right. I definitely want to hear about it. No, because I'm really just only familiar with Florida. I spent the past 7 months just learning all this, the intricate aspects of this industry that I hadn't known before. So, but yeah, in regards to that, Trulieve, or not Trulieve, sorry, froze up. The Florida program is medicinal. They're trying to go recreational. Smart and Safe is the bill that's being pushed by Trulieve right now for legalization. No home grow.
And this
No,
is the bill that would basically allow them to convert all of their medical licenses to adult use.
correct.
How much have they
Exactly.
put into that?
25 million. And since um I guess August, 5 million a month.
And so they'd automatically would have 124 now adult use dispensaries to match
Right.
them.
So think of it as it's the same as it already is, but they could sell to tourists.
Right.
You know, I mean, that's so yeah, your customer base instantly multiplies and you're in a much better spot. Now, I don't think that bill is doing too well right now, that petition.
Good.
They I mean, they're putting all this money towards it. They've clearly fit it into the budget.
How much of the fucking market do you need to control? Like maybe you could figure out how to grow some good weed first.
Right. That's well said. Absolutely true. I don't understand why it's gotten to this point. I mean, but I can tell you right now, they're going to be ran out of town. You know,
Yeah,
we got big name dispensaries from California already coming down here. There's Jungle Boys and Cookies
I
here.
saw. Yeah, I saw that.
So there's going to be a lot more competition here. But yes, it's a medicinal market. You get 2.5 ounces of flower every 35 days. It's a rolling limit. So when you
What
dispense something,
employees
everybody,
or
patients.
patients? Oh,
Sorry.
sorry. Yeah,
I thought you were asking about if it was medicinal or what, but
I
didn't want
was.
to stray
Yeah,
too far away. But
yeah.
yeah,
No.
yeah, no, it's there's rolling limits. So when you dispense something like flour, it's gone from your allotment for 35 full days. So you used to be able to use your 2.5 ounces, and then once that 35 days was up, you can get another 2.5 ounces. Instead, it's based on when the last uh, product was dispensed. So if you dispense a half ounce today, you wait 35 days before that amount is back to your full amount. So isn't that confusing as it is? Two and a
Yeah.
half.
What? What?
This is what I'm explaining to patients every day when this happens. Like 2.5 ounces of flour, you can get that every 35 days. They're like, well, why can't I just do it the way I used to? I'm used to my
Because fuck
regimen.
you.
Exactly correct. 70 days for concentrates, inhalation, anything like concentrates, oral edibles. That is a 70-day rolling period. You get 24,500 milligrams of concentrates every 70 days. This is all new. At
As of
least
when?
as of it was back in August as well.
So we're just adding convoluted rules for some reason.
Makes me wonder if it's just to get everybody to want it recreational anyway. I don't know because
Oh,
I don't know. It's just something I kind of just thought of right there. But
they're
like,
just fucking up their own medical program and be like, see, we need the adult. Wow.
I have no idea where the
Interest,
benefit is. So I
interesting
actually made
theory
it.
there.
I'm gonna send that to you as well because I made a document on that too, highlighting the rules that came out. And they called it an emergency rule. They said it since it is an emergency rule, they don't have to disclose why, and they never did.
What is it like invoking the Patriot Act? Like, oh, it's a terror attack, so we
It's
don't
a
have to
national
explain.
security. Yeah, it's
Wow.
it's an industry security risk. I don't know, but they're trying to regulate the amounts. I could see how it could benefit the MSOs too. I mean, you have an idea of how much product exactly you're getting out to people, but I have no idea who it would really make that an emergency rule. But that's what the reality of the program is right now. It's pretty disheartening,
Yeah.
and it's changing. Like you don't just go and implement rules like that when people are getting their RSO or they're getting their concentrates and doing their specific amounts. People are very regulated about how they consume their cannabis, and like that's not what you do to medical patients in a alleged medicinal or patient focused industry. It's not.
Mm-hmm. And so what about like I heard on the Young Jerks last night, you ripped off like the top three complaints. What are the top three complaints you get on the phone from patients?
Yeah, hands down, deliveries most recently. That's been the biggest one for the past couple months. THC not matching what was displayed on the website. That's a well-known problem on their with their customers that
Mhm.
they're aware. And not being able to reach anybody of importance within the company, not being able to contact a store directly. Us agents, like I said, we are kind of the middleman. We don't even contact the stores directly. We ask somebody else to do it. They don't want us. It seems like they don't want us having too much of a like a network between employees or too
This is
much
what you
communication.
this is what you talked a lot about was the lack of communication between the departments. I believe someone said we have no idea what's going on elsewhere. Um, I'd love to hear a little bit about that.
Yeah, no, I could go on for hours. We we aren't told anything unless it's something that we have to be told, and we're going to be dealing with it all day, really. So there's issues going on, like with the deliveries, that you know we need updates, right? And we can't find out, and the stores won't even answer the phone sometimes when we are trying to find out. So I don't know what it is, if it's a matter of staffing, what there, but it's I didn't talk to the stores. I wasn't somebody that was calling the stores. It was somebody else above me. So they are very calculated with how communication is done, which kind of tells me it's almost like, I don't want to say it's done by design, but it kind of feels that way. It's like it must be benefiting them in some way to not.
Compartmentalize it so that nobody knows anything and
These would be issues in most other companies that would, weigh them down over time. It's been like this for a while. And you were not, you were expected not to ask questions, and
how are you supposed to solve problems for people if you can't talk to anybody at the stores and you can't ask questions about it?
you
Like,
don't. It's the illusion of solving the problems, Caleb. It's like it seems like that because anytime they're calling in and there's serious issues at play. I mean, I'm like, towards the end, I felt like I wasn't helping anybody. At first I definitely was doing good work and I had an opportunity to do my job. They started targeting the call center right around the holidays when they took away our bonuses and made it a lot harder to get ahead. My entire time there, I was right along the edge of termination, all while being a top performer. 100 calls some days, I mean, back to back to back, no breaks. I mean, I took breaks, but like, you know what I mean? I'm sitting there and, I take my 15-minute breaks, but I'm there doing my job and I'm always there. Why am I right? Like, I have so many points against me in the company because they changed the policies around it's predatory practices. They want to have people skirting along the edge of termination so they can just fire them when it's convenient and if they don't want them.
is this the point? Is this the point system that you were talking about here?
No, so that's actually the loyalty points reward system for
Okay, well let's
customers.
come
That's
back to that
different.
then. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, boy.
No,
Um, so it seems wild to have a company so large with just no communication. Um,
right. It's no communication, and the communication that is given is very vague. It's not very helpful. Like, we weren't told important things that we should have been told about stores not operating. Patients aren't told. I mean, there's a lot of delivery hubs in Florida that are just not operating. I don't know why, but it's people are still able to place orders. Patients are still able to get these through. And then they call 5 days later, and I have to explain to them they're never getting this,
so they've
all the
already
time.
paid for it and ordered it
They haven't
online.
already paid for it. That's the
Okay.
one thing. You'll be interested in that. So you pay at the time of receiving your product, whether it's a pickup or a delivery. So you're still reserving your order and you're placing it and you're expecting that to be, there when you get it. But it's not the case. The past 2 months, I was dealing with nothing but like these upset people. And I defended the company the whole time. I mean, towards the end, I didn't, but like, while I was still trying to advance and do what I intended all along, which was to get promoted and make something of it and then get out, probably. But I mean, that never happened. And it got to the point where I could no longer defend the company's bullshit any longer. I don't have any, good verbiage to use for why you wouldn't be receiving your order when you placed it and why your recommendations are affected because it was dispensed. but it never arrived, like
It's like
those
running out
issues.
of stories to tell people. Like,
We're improv artists,
yeah,
we're little PR people here, and just kind of figuring it out. They're big on one call resolutions. You don't transfer to a manager when there's a complaint. Yes.
get it
It's,
done.
yeah, no, like you figure it out, and I did. I mean, I resolved a big portion of those, with no assistance, and don't feel so great about it now because it really went against kind of my morality. So I have concerns about what exactly I was all a part of, and it affected my mental health. Honestly,
There was a guy who said that, and I'm glad you brought that up because I saw someone on Twitter. He said, "Yeah, well, the guy worked for an MSO. He should have known better, or something like that." What would you say to people with that
I
mindset?
agree. I agree. I think that, um, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't know better. I did know better. I knew better, and I knew all about Truliev's practices before I joined the company. I think that um, I was looking for opportunity, and I was hoping that Trulieve was trying to do better, and I could grow with the company. So, agreed though. The layoffs and stuff that's going on with them, that's not surprising. It's just layoffs.
No,
It's
that
what's
seems like an industry standard. Just
industry standard. It's fine. The problem is though, they aren't transparent about it, and I think we deserve at least an explanation. If you can't give us warning, at least tell us why.
yeah.
Because
So it sounds like they came in with a new regime. It was sort of described as on Mike's show last night. You want to explain how the firing went down because that sounded pretty shitty.
absolutely, it was very shitty. So February 16th, I go into work, and as I'm walking in, a lot of my superiors there are walking out, and some of them with tears in their eyes. Uh, I go to my desk, and I'm seeing everyone just getting taps on the shoulder around me. So this went on throughout the day, clearing desks, getting rid of people, and the team leads were already gone by the time I arrived. But yeah, they were told over a conference call, "You're all laid off," and they got hung up on when they asked questions, apparently. So I wasn't in on that call, but I was sitting there basically doing nothing and just not even doing my work, and like messaging my friends there on our platform, like, what's going on? Because um, I could see everybody disappearing from our group, and see on our teams chats as well, everyone's gone. These are the people that, I learned from all around me. Like, I'm very passionate about my colleagues there and my coworkers that encouraged me, all my support there, all the reason that I came in every day. Although we did very independent work and didn't rely on each other, we relied on each other for that in the moment support, um, of coming into work every day and knowing you're around people that you are familiar with and who have seen your growth within the company. So, me being due for a promotion at this point and seeing everybody that had seen my work ethic the past 7 months gone, um, I had a lot of questions, and I was disgusted by how it was handled. So, just after that, they have a meeting, a couple meetings with us. I'm sorry, this was 5 days later. I worked for 6 days, almost a full week, until I, you know, texted my supervisor and said that um, there's clearly no place for me within the company. There were new people in positions above me I had never seen before. So this is really disturbing to me. It was a very dark day, and I went home, and immediately contacted the Tampa Bay Times and a couple other outlets, and just kind of said what happened and waited. Nothing, you know.
Yeah, how's
So
that going? I know you said you tried to get in touch with a bunch of media outlets. Have any
yeah,
of them got back to you?
just the Tallahassee Democrat did, and that's actually the outlet that covered the trial in 2021 with
Oh,
Burnett.
no shit.
Mm-hmm. So they have great ethical principles there, and they will run stories. Trulieve made it
They
a lot
cover
more.
actual news. Wow.
They cover actual news. Incredible. I've never seen anything like.
Imagine that in the newspaper.
I know because did you not see that article? Because I know that Mike reposted it. They quoted him in it.
Oh
It's
yeah, I breezed through it. Yeah.
Spoken Hub thing.
Oh yeah, that was funny.
Hilarious. I got this image in my head. Kim Rivers waking up and grabbing the newspaper and seeing that. Mike Crawford. So much for their Spoken Hub
Yeah, well,
strategy.
I mean, they seemed pretty high and mighty on that, and well, it seems the employees are getting the shit end of the stick, and places like
Everyone is.
yeah, they're
Everyone
not growing
is.
a good product. They treat their employees like shit.
But they're still selling the most.
Yeah, well, when you have fucking 124 dispensaries, you're bound to sell some product.
Right. They're not all doing well. And it's been falling apart for a while from what I've witnessed the past 2 months since December when they laid off all the growth facility workers in northern Florida. It's been cost cutting with everything. And it was only a matter of time before it got to the customer service center. So it shouldn't really be a surprise, but it really shouldn't be handled the way it was either. I mean, yeah, call center, failing business model, probably, but it did have a purpose. We helped a lot of people, a lot of patients that were elderly that just needed assistance with the ordering process. So we
Sure.
had a place and we deserved warning because they definitely knew in advance.
And isn't there something like that, the Warren Act or something?
Yeah, we looked into that hard.
Yeah.
So if you're laying off 50 or more employees at one location, one job site, you need to provide 60 days in advance notice.
And
And
this didn't fall into that category.
we don't know because they won't release a figure. And it's very, very close.
They
It's
won't
it's
tell
so
you how many
close.
people were laid off.
No, they never do. It's always unspecified.
Is that legal?
I'm guessing so. With the corporations, they're saying, I mean, you guys, that's our business. They cry foul all the time, Caleb. Like like you guys have big shoes to fill. Come on. I mean, crying foul and saying threatening litigation over covering media or covering layoffs
Hmm.
in the media.
That's another thing you mentioned for sure is that they maybe have been threatening litigation against some media outlets, and maybe that's why they don't want to touch this kind of stuff.
I had asked a journalist or reporter that I knew in at Business Insider, and he said, not that they actually have a legal leg to stand on, but they do threaten litigation at every step, and it has a chilling effect. Uh, which
Yeah, I mean, it could get expensive, like
right, and
even
they
if
don't
you're
want any retaliation either. Like I'm sure they've gotten harassed by investors over running articles and stuff. Like I imagine that it's um, I can just imagine based on what I've seen on people speaking out, how defensive people get for the company. It could probably get pretty messy.
yeah, and I mean, I assume they got a good team of lawyers.
Yeah,
It seems like they're getting sued every other week for something or other. I think Mike said that's the one thing they're good at is getting sued.
they're great at getting sued. There haven't been any recent filings in court from what I've seen. I'm checking. I check every morning now, basically,
Oh,
because I
okay.
know how many people from my office went and spoke to counsel regarding the layoffs. A lot of people did. There were a lot of people speaking to lawyers after a lot of what had gone down
Well,
did.
there were lawsuits, I believe, for other stuff you mentioned, mislabeling, and I believe there's some, or maybe that was Curaleaf. I might be confusing those two.
Curaleaf, they're all in the same league, and but yeah, there's a few different active ones. There's only one filed from this year so far, and it's related to denial of promotion. So it's a lot of them though are from employees, and that's notable. I imagine that's getting expensive. You got the class action from the Northern Florida layoffs. That's due for a response tomorrow.
Nice.
So they extended that deadline. They said that they're trying to work things out with the plaintiff. But that'll be interesting.
Yeah, keep me posted on that.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yeah,
you
no,
did say your mental health has improved some since you left. That must be a nice little silver lining.
Yeah, I feel so much better after leaving, and I felt support from all my colleagues that were no longer within the company. We're all still friends. I saw some of them, and it just totally boosted my morale. I've been kind of low for a while because you got to think about it. I was going into work every day and trying to resolve complaints for things that I knew were unacceptable, and I feel like complicit in everything. It's like I was working for this company, and I don't like what I did looking back on it. I started out doing the right thing and like following the company's policies. I tried to help people the best I could within the rules of the company, but it really started just feeling like extorting. Not I'm sorry, not extorting. I started feeling like manipulation and just lying on behalf of the company. These people aren't getting their orders. These people aren't getting what they wanted or what they saw and traveled to the dispensary to get.
Hmm. Let's I'm gonna take you for a quick walk here because I gotta get another nugget of this weed.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
I gotta grab my
I, sh-
vape card.
I should have
But
brought more in here, but I want to talk to you. That seems like a good place to kind of talk about the kind of the sketchy marketing and some of this bait and switch that you saw going on. That was some fascinating stuff you guys got into, and I hadn't heard about that at all, but I sure would love to.
it definitely was a common complaint, a common something I had dealt with a lot. And believe it or not, yeah, I had to defend the company on that too. It's like people calling in and saying, you guys are bait and switch people, like bait and switching people. And I'm like, no, the company wouldn't do that. No way. You're crazy, you know. But
So, for some people who might not know what that is, can you explain what a bait and switch is?
yeah, bait and switch. So advertising something, giving the impression of somebody receiving a certain good or service, and then when arriving, finding that something else is in place of it, or the deal isn't there entirely. So basically, um, driving traffic to stores and people with the impression of receiving 50% off on flour, what they actually find out is it's 50% off on maybe one flour, or completely different and not at all the same promotion that they had gone there for. So you're advertising something, and the patient is receiving something different on the other end, on
And
the
I
other side
believe
of things.
Kelly or maybe Megan said that the IT team there was the worst she'd ever seen, and sometimes sales would be posted that people would see at night, and then maybe get to the dispensary and it doesn't even exist, or something like that.
Right. And they do try to make that clear in their their exclusions on the fine print, but it's,
Hey.
yeah, shout out, you know, they are they have these exclusions. Like, it's, for one, it's ridiculous the way that those are done, because it makes it impossible to really take advantage of some of the discounts that are in place. Like the 10%er, like that one won't do anything. You can't stack it on top of anything else that's already discounted. So I mean, if the store is already at 30%, 10% discount don't do dick, like. so so the bait and switch practices, though, were definitely prevalent reports from customers, and very difficult to defend. They said, they want to know for sure that they're going to get this, so they're calling in just to make sure, and because they're familiar, they go there and they get treated like this consistently. So they're calling in and trying to find answers, and I have to tell them, I can't call the store for that. Sorry, we can't verify anything that would determine whether or not they go and get something for the dispensary. So THC percentage, product availability, none of those things we can verify for the patient. That's a big issue, and it won't last like this. There's no way they will last like this, because these are outdated, you know, customer service methods they're using anyway. Like, it's all outdated ticket systems that aren't productive. And like I said, I'm here in good faith. I want to see the company do better for the role that they're filling right now.
So it's kind of like a doctor sending someone to a pharmacy to pick up a prescription, but the doctor has like no idea what they have at the pharmacy to give you.
Good analogy. No, this is it's exactly correct.
It's like, well, I hope they got something. Maybe they got some Tylenol. There's nothing left.
Yeah, no,
Wow.
not right. People want the product they're used to, and we're working with an inaccurate and inventory that's not live. You
Yeah, I
know,
was gonna say it sounded like the inventory tracking had some major problems, huh?
right? And that really was kind of one of those things that just kind of brought me down working there because it's just like, man, what's the next call going to be? Like I there's only so much a man can take. Like I'm telling people, I'm trying to help people with accurate information, but you're dealing with patients. You're dealing with medical patients, elderly people that are convinced, that this certain flower product is what they need. I should be able to find them that. I should be able to get them that, and it should be available if it's on the website. But they don't. The only reason I can think of not having a live inventory is so you can fuck with it, like you as it's convenient. I mean,
Or you're just too cheap to hire a good IT guy,
it could be. There was a
or
lot of
both. A little column A, a little
we
column B.
had so many technical issues there, just with not being able to do anything at certain times and the servers going down. I wouldn't be surprised if they were just using some cheap, software that like on a trial version or something because it couldn't handle a lot and it would go down. Like there was a lot of days where we got no explanation for why our systems were down, but we just had to tell people we couldn't help them. Like it's yeah, the company's in disarray and that's a fact. There's no secret there. It's chaotic and it's visible. You can feel just the chaos when you're in that building and the customer support, like how dysfunctional it is.
Oh yeah, I was a bartender for a while. I feel like it's
I was too.
yeah, cool.
That was my
Just a
job
lot of
before
putting
this.
out fires and dealing with complaints.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely. I mean, crazy, man. It's definitely something else. Like I loved my experience there with all the people I worked with. And that's kind of what has me coming out of this on the other end thinking, just wow, like this has definitely been an interesting experience. I've learned from it. I don't have to make it be bad. It doesn't have to be negative.
How many of these call centers are there?
Just one.
That's the only one in the whole
That's the only,
state.
no, we handled the whole state.
Oh
Absolutely.
fuck, dude.
Oh no, yeah. And there's people calling that don't even go to Trulieve. People just wanted to check their recommendations, So we're doing a lot of just
Wow.
general industry answering questions and just helping people get their medical cards
What
and
you
stuff.
said there was like 100 people there to handle the whole state.
Yeah, so there wasn't 100 people. There was
Yikes.
100 people totally maybe employed. That's not 100 people taking calls. No, not
Right,
even
right.
close.
A
Not
couple
even
people
close.
just staring at you, looking mean.
Exactly. Yeah, pretty much. No,
Gotta have a couple of those.
there's people there that, with how small of a group it really was, kind of a niche group there. I had no idea what some of their positions were. And like just had no idea, like, the people that were at the office that weren't, contributing to what's,
Consultants.
yeah, like I don't know, but all the people I was familiar with were gone. So I eventually just separated from employment there and moved on. But it's not 100 people. It's like you're looking at half of that, a little less than half of that actually probably working the
And how many patients would you say you guys have in Florida?
we have 890,000 patients in the state. So that is yeah, no,
Wow.
I could it's yeah, no, I'm sorry. I'm trying to think about how to put that into our numbers. It's we don't serve every
Well, if
patient.
you've got a quarter of the fucking dispensaries, which I think is about right for Trulieve, 124, I think that's about a quarter of the medical dispensaries in Florida. You're still looking at fucking 200,000 people, maybe, if we just average that out in a call
You're
center
right.
with 50 people answering phones. That's
Yeah.
fucking absurd.
It's and yeah, the writing on the wall was there years ago. Like the customer service phone answering, placing orders that way, when that's legal, it's not going to last anyway. So
True.
this was absolutely a long time coming, but we deserved more than like.
Can we hit on some of the contamination? It sounded like you said, man, it sounded like there was like mildew growing inside some of the containers that and there let's do the return policy. Can we talk about the return policy
Oh, for
first?
sure.
Yeah, let's do that.
Absolutely. So not really much of a return policy. You can exchange items.
Okay.
So yeah, you can go if the policy states that you can exchange anything for any reason as long as you have at least half of it left.
You said it was
So
like a just say yes return policy or something.
that on paper it is.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's in that case, yeah. So if say you got something and you weighed it out and it's not a full eighth, it's only a gram and a half. Bring it back. We'll swap it out with a new one. So, or yeah, a product of equal value, which is interesting. If there's a sale going on and a product is on sale, you wouldn't necessarily be able to get that same product with, what I'm saying? It's because it's a different price. But so you can return or exchange anything. A return would have to be processed by the manager of the store at their discretion, which I can't speak too much on as I wasn't in the stores, but there were complaints about that. So yes, you can exchange products. You can do it at any dispensary. Most cannabis companies here don't do that. They don't have an exchange policy. So they got that going for them. Though a lot of people have alleged it's because they know the product they're serving is subpar.
Sure.
And
Well,
there's
also
going to be
exchange policies are weird because you could just like you said, if I have more than half of it, okay, so I could just buy an eighth every time, go home, smoke a little less than half of it, and bring it back and complain about it, and I just get free weed forever.
yeah. And you know what? There was definitely some people that did that, of course. But we notate all those things. So people that's were doing that, you can notate that, or
You pick
you
up
can
on it
find
after
out.
a
You
while.
pick
You're
up
like,
on it, and like
this is the
I
seventh
love
eighth
messing with those people.
you brought back the last 10 eighths in a row, Caleb. Like,
Yeah, no, I definitely had some fun with some of those calls. People calling like, "Huh, what says here? You just did the exact same thing at another store the other day, like for the past 3 weeks." So,
uh,
but honestly, Caleb, that wasn't that big of an issue because a lot of the complaints were valid, and I believe them.
yeah,
A lot of the time, I don't think that a majority of people were calling in and just saying that there was problems to get free stuff. I
sure.
think they were actually upset, and
How's the flower?
I won't smoke it. I won't do anything Trulieve now. I'm never going to another Trulieve, but yeah. So the flower, I mean, I imagine they have some good flower, but it's $65 an eight. There's I can't speak on that or endorsing any of the products at all. It's I've seen and heard too much,
Did
so
you hear that kid on that called in to the Young Jerks last night? I think Logan was his name. He was talking
yeah,
about some of the ground that they'll sell. They're like, here, we'll give you a quarter of fucking ground for like $25 or something.
very popular.
He said that some of that was making him sick.
That's the only product I've ever gotten that from a dispensary I've had to throw out. 7 grams of ground for $25 looks like oregano. It's not flour. It doesn't look like flour, but it tastes so harsh, and it has this chemical pesticide taste. Like it was sprayed way too late and floury, but it definitely would give me a headache, and it didn't smell or taste right. And I'm like, I'm not using this. Like, I'm not taking bong rips of this
And
floor
they're giving that
sweepings.
to medical patients.
Yeah, at a discount. Like, I mean, there's a reason they sell some ace for $65 or $58, and then the 7 grams of ground is for some reason, worth less than half of that. So $25 for a quarter, 100 for an ounce of that.
You get what you pay for sometimes. Boy. It's just what a shame.
Agree, agree. But
Um,
it's so popular. Like, people like it,
and,
and
it's and so some people in Florida, correct, are allowed to, if you get SNAP benefits or something, you get a discount. Is that true? Or food stamps or
yeah.
something? Yeah.
So you do.
So like a
You
lot of
could,
customers probably don't have a ton of money, is what I'm getting at.
right. So I mean, they kind of go off like I said. You know how with all their stores they're trying to be the Walmart of weed. It's like you can kind of say that with their retail operations too, because it's really it's relevant to that fact. I think that the patients are just super uneducated because Trulieve is the one that started out here and they got their foot in the door first. So it kind of set the industry off on its path. And now we have a bunch of misinformation basically, and people that are skeptical over all the discrepancies in the company with the one thing I did want to touch on though with the THC percentages being different, like it's totally true. And so patients are distrusting, and I could speak on that for a fact. What were you saying though? I skirted from your question.
Hmm. What was I saying? Where are we
I
at?
know I was trying to answer something. I got drifted off.
Hmm. That's all right. I got a lot more. I still
Yeah,
got
no, I'll come
another
back to
half
me.
hour. We might have to breeze through some of this.
We
If we get lost in a couple tangents, that's okay because there's plenty
totally.
here. Um, yeah, oh, mildew was I was gonna ask you
Oh,
about. You said you've seen mildew inside, like growing inside the
that wasn't
container.
me actually. I didn't say that. I've definitely seen the product
Oh,
moldy, and I was saying it doesn't last long. It like in those containers. It's so like there's stuff I have stuff right now that's due to expire in May, and I won't use that shit. Like that shit's just not holding up well,
hmm.
and yeah, like I don't know what they do to it, but I imagine there is a problem with mold and mildew. I haven't
Yeah.
heard too many complaints personally. I mentioned that last night. I heard a couple, but I don't think that a lot of the patients are educated enough to even spot it.
Do
You know,
you
like
know? Yeah, that's a great point. Also, do you know if they're doing any type of remediation?
I don't. I only can go off of what I've seen in the actual rules and regulations, which I'm going to share with you. I'll share and highlight all these things with you. I should have already done that.
All
But
right.
yeah, we're definitely going to be keeping the conversation going though. So like after this too. Um, but the rules and regulations state they can use same kind of pesticides you would on tobacco, basically, and there are I don't want to quote anything without having it right in front of me, but um, so they definitely do you know take measures to prevent from like infestations and stuff, I guess, but that might be working against the benefit to the patients, so
Yeah, I know. I can't imagine like people with breathing problems or anything need like a lot of
right
pesticides in their
here
life.
I got asthma,
Oh,
and
yeah, there you
yeah,
go.
so and I do smoke flower, but some of this MSO flower that I get, I could tell it's not right. And same with the vapes, I mean, obviously neither are going to be great for your lungs, but it's I don't need an inhaler much, but I actually lived in like a house that had mold in it. And that's actually I had to move out of there recently, and I had to start using my inhaler for a while. So I'm mindful about these things, and I've definitely had the concerns with people alleging they use moldy flower for extracts, which I'm sure you could defend that in some way, and say that there's no mold after the fact, but it's there's problems there. People have posted pictures, people have shared these things. I never worked in a grow facility, but I can definitely confirm that it all adds up to there being a big issue with the MSOs not properly running these facilities.
Hmm.
And it is not just Trulieve. It is not limited to Trulieve.
No, again, that seems like across the board, man.
It's a problem, and that's we just have to hold Trulieve to the biggest standard because they're the most relevant example right now.
Oh, you know what
And
Trulieve did have? They had a little bit of an explosion, I believe. They didn't have the recall, but up in boy, yeah, I think that was Pennsylvania. It sounds like some of their safety
And
standards
Reading,
are not really up to snuff as well.
there was something out of Reading, PA, where they didn't report an injury involving loss of an eye or loss of a limb, or, or something.
Yeah, or someone
Is that
got
what you're talking
electrocuted
about?
too.
Yeah, it was electrocution.
Yep. And in
And it was,
Massachusetts, I think someone had a little fireball. There was definitely a little explosion somewhere. Yeah.
is that just super low key?
Yeah. Well, I mean, as you said, they like to keep shit pretty quiet, you know? So,
They're good at it.
I mean, there was a woman who died up here. Did they tell you about that?
I didn't find I didn't find out for until, yeah, no, not until September, when it was leaked. Like that happened. That's what, 8 months later.
Yeah. So if they're not even talking about that, I can't imagine a little fireball here and their little guy got electrocuted. Ah, that's nothing.
That's such a good point, and like I know this, and I should be thinking more about that. But you're absolutely right. That's actually what really outraged me, and kind of got me involved in listening to your guys' shows. Just that whole case, and then seeing Mike cover it like that. He did like every show on Lorna for like every night for like
I
eight
know.
weeks.
And I hear her family still calling in. That was
Wasn't that
nice.
something?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. It was like a niece and an aunt. Like, yeah, Mike did a bang up job on that. Like,
And
I didn't hear about it, and I live in Vermont, dude. Like, that's
yeah.
Holyoke is fucking 2.5 hours down the road.
Oh, I mean, oh, you really? So
Dude, that's close.
interesting.
That's how close I am to Holyoke. It's like pretty close to the Vermont border. And
You
I
should have
didn't
went
hear
down
about
there
it
for
till
this.
I also didn't hear about it till Mike came out with the story. So that just shows you kind of the lengths that they go through to keep the shit under wraps, you know?
Did you think about kind of going after the story and trying
Oh,
to?
for sure. Like as soon as he covered it, that's why I had him on. That's the first time I had him on, I believe. I was like, I saw that and I was like, oh shit, like I gotta definitely talk to this guy, you know? I also have been trying to get Danny on. Yeah. But in the meantime, I've been looking for employees to talk to from any of these places. And I know like a lot of people don't want to talk because they want to go back into the industry, maybe somewhere else, and they don't want to see. And like one of your coworkers said, she said, I believe other dispensaries will kind of look down on you if you go
Yeah,
to apply for. Yeah,
I think
that's
so too. I think that there's a bad reputation there, and I think it's getting out, and it's definitely getting out now that you know other companies are aware of the practices. Some of the employees, they're worried about the experience they've gained at Trulieve. So it could definitely have a hindering effect on us seeking other industry work, unless you're doing activism.
and what's up? They tried to make you stay open during a fucking hurricane.
They did. That was the first thing that really appalled me too. And so that was back in late September too, around this whole time. That was a devastating hurricane, by the way. Completely decimated Fort Myers, and but they didn't close any stores for. I mean, up until like at least 24 hours before it was coming, they were intending on business as usual. Like that's like they were saying business as usual until otherwise. And while people are actively complaining and saying, no, I'm not going to work. Like I'm in an evacuation zone. The county's telling me to leave. I'm leaving. Like that's what was going on.
I'd be
And
the fuck out of there.
right, no, everyone was being
You're
given
not
the
paying me
runaround.
enough to die in a fucking hurricane.
It's dangerous regardless. You're driving to and from work on the streets. Like they're like, oh, essential business. Like how do you guys? I want to know made these companies. I guess it's medicinal, but like essential business doesn't count when you're talking about a natural disaster
Oh,
resulting
is
in.
that what they said? This is essential. We got to
That's
stay
why
open.
they can remain operating.
Oh,
It's true. I mean, the gas stations do.
I remember the
But
liquor stores during COVID. They were like, "Yeah, no, these are essential. We got to keep the liquor stores
I
open."
see. I support that. But like,
People might actually die if you don't, if they can't. Some like hardcore alcoholics. I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
you just
yeah.
shut
No,
off
it's
all the
essential.
liquor. A
Like,
bunch of old men are gonna drop dead tomorrow.
or be at the courthouse saying this is an essential business. We need it now.
Wow. So, and it sounds like, dude, I saw someone your little document. They were telling people to go to a shelter and work from a shelter?
Yeah, no, what's with that? I don't think that they were being serious. I think that they're just being
Uh,
antagonizing. Because
you
they're
think they were
not
just throwing salt in the wound? Like, yeah, you are
kind
getting
of
work. Go find a
no.
shelter. They got internet.
They're like, yeah, no, like it was pretty pathetic how it was all handled. And I was still a relatively new employee, like 6 weeks in, and I'm just kind of sitting there watching everything. Um, I didn't have any specific complaints on that at the time, other than the fact that we weren't given any warning. I mean, I wasn't in the 10-foot storm surge that Clearwater was in. So at least at the time, so it was, the storm did end up going south of Tampa, but Tampa was still affected greatly. The call center was closed for weeks. So it was a big deal, but I went and worked from home throughout all that, and was with a short staff, with 150 calls waiting. And that's just what it was like. We were trying to open stores right away after the fact. Um, Obviously, they were going to close, and they should have anticipated the closures in advance. Like, give your workers and patients a time to get safe, And instead of running hurricane sales, stock up
Yeah,
now.
is that what they did?
Yeah, yeah. Stock up
Um,
now and save. You need to have at least a week of product on hand.
come on
Like,
in, 10% off a shitty fucking
like,
house.
come, yeah, no, and come and drop off a case of water or supplies, and you get 10% off your order. Like, really. So you guys are just like, let's turn a negative into a positive with this hurricane. Let's make some sales.
Let's do this. Wow. I believe at one point too, this might have been before you were there, but one of your coworkers there mentioned that at one point they used to have armed security at every store, and then they took that away,
When
and
I
that
became a
there,
patient, they did. Yeah.
yeah, and that there
Yeah.
would be sometimes like people in the parking lot following patients to their cars, and
Mm-hmm.
it was right next to a liquor store, and they had customers coming in with guns.
Yeah.
Boy,
So like I never saw that, but I had definitely seen a lot, and it was always at the Trulieve dispensaries. Um, and there's a lot of issues on that regard. I vividly remember seeing armed security there every time I went in as a patient a year ago, or maybe, don't quote me on that. It might have been longer ago, but they had security in their stores, and for some reason that was considered expendable. Like uh, we could cut. That's a cost cutting measure. Um, that's a concern, I would say, because you felt it was a need to begin with. You know, you invested in it as you got your stores open. You knew that was relevant.
they're like, now that we got a bunch of people coming in and on all this product, we don't
Like,
really need the security anymore.
yeah, security. No, like that's
Thanks. No, we're good now.
we had a call center.
These guys will handle it.
Lots of back and forth. Directing patients to us and us directing patients to the store.
Well,
Back and forth. Like you get the
yeah, some
runaround.
of the women sounded like that was a wicked concern for that. She's like, I'm not big, like I'm not fighting anybody. I'll give you whatever you want.
I imagine that was very difficult. I wouldn't be a dispensary worker at Trulieve. No way, man. Like you'd have to come in. They don't. It's like they almost don't intend on anybody being there long. They can afford to churn people in and out, and it seems to be working out for them. Doesn't seem like they have any intentions of anybody with relevant industry knowledge actually coming in and doing a good job. Those are the people that always end up let go.
It does seem like that. And I've talked to some other folks from, a number of different dispensaries that MSOs that say the exact same thing. Just hiring people with no experience almost seems intentional, after a certain point, like it's not just like a one-off. This is like a pattern. They do it on purpose. And I think you mentioned it earlier. It's like, so there's like, I don't know, maybe so they don't feel bad. They just keep people with no experience so they don't have to worry about letting them go. It's just like, yeah, um, I don't know.
It's a big allegation to make. And actually I wanted to ask, what's another example of a company, like is it Curaleaf or something that was doing that, like that you've talked
Oh,
to work with
Curly
them?
for sure has, and there was another one in Massachusetts where I interviewed a couple of their employees. I'll tell you that after. But yeah, it just seems like and I've heard the same thing about GTI, and companies like that.
I'm interested. I want to know, like, I'm not just, coming after Trulieve here. Like, I want to know what's going on with this industry.
No,
So,
I mean this seems to be pretty consistent. All the layoffs, the fucking hiring people with no experience, and I can certainly put you in touch with some of those folks after this.
yeah, absolutely. One of the people I've been in touch with is Lauren McMurray's cousin that called in last night, Alicia. She's awesome and she's a
Yeah.
great resource. I love talking to her. But she said in her words from Mike's podcast, to Trulieve, you are expendable. If you die, they just fill in your spot. They and I thought that was very telling because here we have the most serious issue we could imagine, death in the workplace, and that's exactly how it was treated. Like, you die, we fill in your spot with somebody
Right, we
else.
put an ad up the next day for a
For
position open.
anything, but exactly anything beneath that is going to be the same exact way that was handled. We'll just fill in your spot.
Yeah, and then they blamed their PR statement. I thought was fucking disgusting.
Outraging.
Basically, blame the family, like blame her.
Dude, yeah.
It's
That's
typical
what got me.
corporate bullshit where they don't take any responsibility for anything ever and just blame it on, oh, sorry, we're new at this. Like
We're
that
new.
doesn't make it better.
It's like, well, new that puts you in the spotlight. Like, this is up to you then, because
Right.
everybody's new.
I
Like,
couldn't
everybody's
believe
new.
that.
Not everybody's killing people.
Someone died at a weed factory. Like that shit blew my mind. Like
I
how?
was so that enraged me, and that's what really had me question what kind of company am I really working for here? Because I won't stand for that, and but a lot of people in Florida did not know.
Hey,
I heard
let's
of
pull up. Let's pull up what company you're working for. Hang on, we're gonna do the thing here. Let's go. Whammy. Hold on, not that one. Give me the other one. Bang. There we go. How about that, Alex? Can we talk
well,
about this? Because it looks like you're working for failure. I think F is for failure.
yeah, well, I'm not working for them anymore. I'll tell you that much.
Could you tell us some of the stuff that we're gonna find in this list here?
Yeah,
Well,
it's going to be all the issues that we talked about. I named the big three. These are allegations of bait and switch there. And the THC percentage is not matching that what patients saw on the website are a big one
how
as
about these
well.
HIPAA violations, man? That's a big one.
Definitely something I have seen, and it's definitely been a problem with customer service and all that. I mean, I know people who have gotten HIPAA violations within the company too.
Yeah.
So I never did, but absolutely, it was touched on last night, and I believe she said, patients' information getting switched up in the systems and stuff.
Damn.
Patients getting the wrong delivery order, and I saw a complaint just the other day on Facebook that said, we as two people had their deliveries mixed up, and they went and figured it out themselves and sent that up and swapped out.
Damn.
like like that's a big violation.
Yo. And the wait times. I heard. I think someone said up to 90 minutes for a wait time.
I wanted to that's something I want to touch on. Thank you. So that's a big reason I stopped going there too, because like it was definitely the convenient thing to do to go and grab edibles or vape from Trulieve, but you're looking at a 20-minute wait time regardless. It's like it seems if you're at a busy store and during rush hours, over an hour. And
Damn.
that was a complaint all the time. People
So it's
calling
Walmart, but you got to wait an hour.
an hour, and like they're doing this. Megan mentioned it. The methodology is like it's patient based. So it's like a doctor's visit. So you're sitting in the waiting room, and they got your license, and you're waiting to be called up. And they take people. They only have 2 registers open max at one time. They won't open more than 2 registers, from what I hear. So they got 2 registers open and 2 people handling the patients coming in. And I imagine patients take a long time sometimes, but The other companies aren't having this issue because I'm in and out of Move or any other place within 5 minutes. Like I'm in and out, and you could argue that they have a bigger clientele. They do. They're selling the most flour. They're selling the most concentrates, but I mean, it's taking a long time to do it, and it's very unproductive because patients are calling in and worried about waiting at the dispensary for an hour. So like,
Yeah, I don't want to wait at a fucking dispensary for an hour.
no, and there's like we're going to be at the point here where there's other options. So people aren't going to have to resort to Trulieve anymore. But at the same time, there's some areas that probably haven't gotten, all the other places yet, like the Cookies, the Jungle Boys, or the other places that um, haven't at least screwed over Florida patients yet. So
Yeah, we'll see what the Jungle Boys do. I'm curious to see how that pans out.
you guys don't have them there in the Northeast, do you?
No,
It's
not yet. I'm
interesting.
sure. I'm sure we see him soon. Everybody's
Yeah.
trying to just go everywhere. Seems like the move in the industry.
It's like you
Just
take
spread it out.
yeah, you take over your centralized hub and try to operate like that. Like I think Curaleaf and Trulieve both have left a lot of their operations out west. So not in Arizona, but with I think they were in Nevada and they exited there. Curaleaf took most of their stores out of there except for Las Vegas. They're leaving these places because they know they can only thrive in a limited market where they have dominant control.
Correct. And
It's like
in many ways, I don't even think these guys look at Vermont. It's just nothing. It's not even worth trying to control.
they
But they do. But they do control. I mean, 3 MSOs do control our entire medical market. So they did
three is
lock
better
that
than
down.
one. I'd rather have three than just one.
Sure. Well,
Well, maybe
It's
not. Hold on.
Curaleaf and
I actually take that back. I don't want three of those. But
it's Curaleaf and Slang, which bought those dispensaries with convertible debt issued by Trulieve.
what are they called? Slang?
Slang Worldwide, yeah, they
Slang?
bought up 2 of our dispensaries, and Trulieve wrote the convertible debt for them. So I imagine they're going to try to weasel their way in here at some point.
Yeah, no, I'd imagine so. That's why I don't like the direction it's all heading in. And that's why I'm speaking to you today. Like it's it's a concern and there's an opportunity to fix it now. And there's an opportunity to um work together to I feel like I'm saying bullshit, like because I don't trust these MSOs. I don't
I was going to
expect
say,
them
do
to
you
do
think
anything.
they're going to turn?
I want to say that though, because I want to make it clear that I have good intentions and I'm not just trying to burn the companies. Like I'm not just trying to shut them all down. I want them to listen to the employees and listen to the patients, listen to the complaints and act on it. Take action. It's overdue. It's unacceptable what
Make
we're
Kim
looking at.
work at the call center.
It says on the website she's involved in all she oversees everything. She's there. I mean, I was looking for her. I never saw her. They had other executives come by, but I never saw Kim.
She was busy getting chased out of Holyoke.
She's not making any big public appearances, but I'd like to talk to her.
Yeah, me too.
I'd
She
love to
should
talk to
come
her.
on the show.
Come on the show for real.
I had
know
Brian on. Brian interviewed her.
Brian did it. Balls in her court.
Just got a couple questions, Kim. Yo, I'm actually out of questions for you though, Alex. I want to thank you for your time. This has been fantastic. However, I always leave the last word for the guest here. So if we missed anything, if there's any shout outs or shameless plugs you want to throw in, now would be the time for that. Thanks again for reaching out. This has been fascinating, and I can't wait to do it again.
Likewise, we are going to do it again. I wanted to thank you, Caleb, first of all, for having me and being a resource lately. You've become a good friend too, and I can tell everyone you're a friend of the industry here. So I'll be doing that, and I'm be giving a couple of my friends some calls. I actually just had one too right before this. Following up with me on his case. No one's taken it. So I thank you for helping me with this project, getting this on the spotlight, and get the word out there in good faith and with good intentions. And I want to say not everybody at Trulieve is, you know, working there with nefarious intentions. There's a lot of people that are jerks and definitely not conducive to a positive work environment. But the people I met there and worked beside and learned from, those people are the greatest. And they inspired me so much. And they supported me after I left the company because I left the company for them. For me too. But I did it for them because I won't work for a company that treats those people that were good workers the way that they did at the end, including me. You know, so we all got mistreated. We're all upset. And we did all your dirty work at that call center for various amounts of time. Those people were there for a long time, a lot of them. You should have treated us
and they
better.
tried to make you sign an NDA. That was the one thing I forgot.
Not me. I just quit. They didn't give me, they weren't going to give me any severance. You know, they basically said no opportunity for advancement, no step, you know, they basically pressured me to resign. Like I made it 6 days. I have one friend who's still there, but I couldn't do this anymore. And it was too dark. It was too negative. It was too sad to be there without my people. So that's who the shout out is for me. I love those people. And I think you'll be talking to some of them.
Can't wait. Alex Miller, former Trulieve employee at Clearwater, Florida. Thanks so much for your time, man. This has been a pleasure.
Awesome time. Thank you so much, Caleb. Till next time.
Yo, good luck with everything.
Thank you.